Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know the drill. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Alrighty, I wanted to show you this one thing before I get into my video. And this is Julian Edelman. I just got this the other day. Julian Edelman making the unbelievable catch against the Atlanta Falcons in 2017, the Super Bowl held then. And what was insane about this game was that the Patriots were losing 28-3, and then they ended up coming back. And this was, I think, on the drive where they're losing 28-20, and Brady somehow threw this ball. It was almost intercepted by Atlanta, and the Edelman somehow caught this. I can't show you the clip because of copyright violations, but this was just an insane catch. And some people might be like, why do you want to collect this? I want to collect this because it's motivation for me. Like right now I'm going through, some obstacles, and this is just a reminder to me that you could come out of a jam really easily. Not really easily, but you could come out of a jam and you could still win the game. I mean, they were down 28-3 and they still won 34-28. The best Super Bowl in my lifetime. I don't know if there's anything better than that. Now, that being said, I wanted to get into the topic of Card Ladder. PSA just purchased Card Ladder. Congrats to them. Now, I'm just looking at it where, okay, they're going to join. PSA is going to probably add more cards to the Card Ladder database. So that should definitely, that will definitely improve, in my opinion, with more staff, more money, more funding, etc. Now, I'm just looking at the hobby though, and I'm seeing a lot of tools out there. And this is not going to be a criticism of these tools, but despite some of the nice features of these products, and I have used them. I did use Card Ladder when they allowed it to be free. I was able to check price points of, oh, okay, I want to sell my Patrick Mahomes Optic Hollow PSA 10. And I was looking, oh, in February, that was not a good time to sell because it just crashed down after he lost the Super Bowl. But these tools can't be handy if you want to maybe sell a card. But I believe with all of the analytics out there now, it is actually, in my opinion, hurting the hobby. I know some people may not agree, and that's fine. I'd like you to comment down below. But before I get into this topic, I wanted to touch base on sports and how they have relied on analytics. So here's the deal. Moneyball, that book written by Michael Lewis, showed how the Oakland Athletics were able to go to the playoffs numerous times in the early 2000s. And they were able to do that because they used basically algorithms to find some sort of technique about these players that were usually overlooked. One of the players was Barry Zito. I believe the Boston Red Sox were able to draft Kevin Youkilis, who got on base quite a bit. I believe he helped them win a World Series or two, if I remember correctly. And it helped teams like Oakland. That was the main focus because they didn't have that much money. And then over time, every team has embraced analytics. Now, this may be good for a small market like the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, but in my opinion, it has hurt the sport of baseball. For instance, they have the problem now of launch angle, or it is a problem. The teams are focusing on players to try to elevate the ball and hit the ball out of the park. And this is taking away from what made baseball great. What made baseball great was, hey, you get on base, you hit singles, and then try to drive in runs the good old-fashioned way. And a good example was the New York Yankees in the 1990s that used the small ball approach, and they won four World Series rings under Joe Torre. And as soon as Steinbrenner embraced the whole long ball policy, they only won one World Series after that in 2009. And they had all sorts of guys that could hit, but they couldn't win. And that's because just trying to hit home runs is not going to help you win. And Gary Sheffield once stated that, hey, it's guys like Theo Epstein who helped my Cubbies actually win and the Red Sox win, that he changed the game. A lot of people are striking out now. So in a way, sure, the Cubs have won a World Series. The Boston Red Sox have won a World Series embracing analytics. But what comes out of it? What comes out of it is a lot of people now are striking out. I mean, look at the Yankees. Aaron Judge strikes out way more than Gary Sheffield did. And one last thing about this is in baseball, you have a lot of individuals from Latin America who grew up in humble beginnings. And now you're trying to teach them to, deal with all of these analytics. And they didn't grow up with this. They didn't grow up with launch angle. That didn't make them a great player. And you're trying to change the way that they hit. And I think that's one detriment of this game now. And that's why Theo Epstein is now working as a consultant to try to change what he actually did. One of the mistakes that he made. Now, putting that aside, so what does this have to do with sports cards? There are certain tools out there, and I'm not trying to bash the guys that made these tools. I think, like I said before, these tools look nice. It's nice to navigate, but ultimately, all of these tools came out right after the prices went crazy. Where were these tools when the prices were just gradually going up higher? There wasn't the demand. I get that part. But that being said, is if everyone's trying to look at comps on these new platforms, and then a couple of years from now, the whole thing blows up in the face, I mean, what's the point of using all these comps if we know what's going to happen in the next few years? And some people are like, hey, you're negative, you're this and that. No, I'm just calling balls and strikes. I'm just looking at it from a perspective why we would constantly look at these applications when we're not looking at one of the primary reasons why sports cards have been going up. And I've talked about the Federal Reserve. I've talked about all this easy money out there before stimulus checks. And now that's coming to a halt, right? We have the Federal Reserve, like I mentioned, they're going to taper. And next month, or later this month, they're going to talk about a more aggressive strategy for tapering, more than what I said before. Instead of cutting at 10 billion and 5 billion for these two different types of securities, they're going to cut spending even more, and interest rates will go higher a lot sooner next year. And the way that I'm looking at this is, sure, these applications look nice, but at the end of the day, are these new platforms going to help us navigate through the choppy situation that we're going to go through, like I said, in the coming few years? Now, that being said, I'm not against new technology, but I don't want to depend on it like many people are. I know this is not a popular opinion to say. I know some people may not like what I say, but at the end of the day, this is my opinion. And ultimately, collectibles and all of these sports cards, they go up in a time of negative interest rates and money printing. And now we're going to be slowly moving away from that. And a lot of people dependent on these platforms are probably going to be in for a surprise, constantly looking at comps. Now, that being said, you have to look at comps, but there have always been places where you can do the research. I mean, PWCC, they have sales. They show the sales of everything on their auction. Some people will be like, hey, that's only PWCC. You're not capturing the other platforms. And I understand that. So that may be a reason why someone would want to use that if they're actively selling or buying and selling cards and flipping. But like I've stated before, the flipping game is going away. And if people are dependent on these platforms for flipping, I think people are going to be in for a surprise. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below, guys. Thanks. Bye.